Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. We got some Steeler football talk for you today. We're going to finish up our player profiles.
Kickers.
We got the safety position for you. We don't need to do kickers and punters. Nobody gives a crap about them.
Well, we gotta talk Sweesham, man. What are you talking about?
Half the people don't care about these guys we're talking about, especially this first guy, Alden Darby. I don't know who Alden Darby is. I actually had to do research on this guy. He's 5'10", 192 pounds. He's in his second year. He was originally signed by the Chargers in 2014 as an undrafted free agent. He signed a futures reserves contract with Pittsburgh in January of this year. He played 50 games in college, although he only started 28 of them in a 4-year career at Arizona State. The guy had 217 tackles, 8.5 for a loss, 26 passes defended, 10 picks, 3 forced fumbles, and 4 fumble recoveries while in school. Not bad, but not, nothing that jumps off the page at you. He was the first person to be awarded the Pat Tillman number 42 practice jersey at Arizona State by Coach Todd Graham. You get that award for combined athletic, academic, and community achievements. So he's a guy with good character. He's an intelligent guy. So at least you're not bringing in these gangster-ass mofos into camp and bad influence on everybody. Darby was actually a star receiver, cornerback, and return man in high school. He went to Long Beach High School out near Snoop Dogg. And actually, when he was in school, there was an early season shoulder injury to their quarterback, which led Darby to play quarterback against the Poly Prep, whatever their namers are, one of the best high school teams in all the country. And this dude freaking brought him back, and he threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for 2 more and intercepted a pass on defense. And they beat Poly 35-34. So it's pretty much the highlight of his sports career, and it'll probably end there.
They call this dude the Juice Man. Hey, I'm reading an article right now.
Juice Man.
Just saying that he's not just a run-of-the-mill free agent signing for the Steelers, and they give some good reasons here why he does have some potential, and he's actually overcame a lot in his life. Some family members died when he was very young, and his mom and dad were both in and out of jail his whole life, so he had a lot to overcome. And who knows, maybe he can overcome some of this competition he has and make it on the roster or the practice squad to begin with, and who knows.
Well, I mean, we have such great safety depth with Mike Mitchell and Shamarko Thomas starting for us.
I'm rooting for this guy already. Juice Man.
Juice Man.
Look, he gained 25 pounds, it said, and wouldn't talk to his friends.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because look, he grew up in a bad spot. Obviously, his mom and dad were in and out of jail. Like I said, he grew up in Long Beach in a very bad neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And he stayed away from the
gangbangers.
Yeah, he stayed away
he was
from
doing steroids. Maybe that's why his name's the Juice Man.
Yeah, that's how he gained 25 pounds apparently. But I don't know. It looks like this dude got his head on straight and works hard.
You got to root for the underdog, so we'll root for him. How's that?
Juice Man.
The Juice Man. What about the next guy we got? Robert Golden. He's 5'11", 202 pounds, 24 years old, entering his 4th season out of Arizona. He signed with the team as an unrestricted free agent in 2012. He signed his 1-year tender to stay with the team in April after becoming a restricted free agent. He was our special teams captain last year, played in all 16 games. He had 10 tackles, 5 solo. He was the guy who threw the 25-yard pass to Antoine Blake on the fake punt against Cleveland. I don't know if you guys remember that play. He also recovered the fumble near the goal line against Carolina for a touchdown that was forced by Shamarko Thomas. He's only missed 1 game since the Steelers have signed him. He really doesn't project much into the safety game, but as far as special teams goes, he's one of the best players we got on the team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he made it as the last safety on the team just for the special teams play.
Yeah, I don't think this guy is going to miss out on a roster spot. I mean, he's not a big name. He's not a name that everyone comes up with when you talk about Steelers, but he is an important piece to this team.
If you play special teams and we don't hear your name and you're not the punt returner,
We
or
heard
kick
his
returner,
name because he scored a freaking touchdown.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He did something good and you hear his name. He actually threw a touchdown pass and scored a touchdown. So if you're not effing up on special teams, then you're getting it done. The next guy on our list is Isaiah Lewis. He's 5'10", 211 pounds in his second season at Michigan State. He was originally signed by the Bengals in May of 2014. He signed with Pittsburgh in January this year. He played 53 games in college with 40 starts, was a 4-year letter winner. This guy totaled 227 tackles, 26 pass breakups, and 8 picks while in college. He was nicknamed Natural Born Killer. So what's better, that or the Juice Man?
Well,
I gotta go with the Juice, man.
the Juice is a natural born killer.
Please believe.
The Juice is loose.
Lewis is a great hitter who isn't afraid to punish ball carriers. He does struggle getting in and out of breaks and coverage. He doesn't have the best ball skills. He's mostly a box safety. He can come up, stuff the run, stick his head down, even though you're not allowed to hit anybody with your helmet anymore. But he plays those gritty plays. He's one of those gritty kind of guys. He's good on special teams. And he's a good guy to have in the locker room. So he's definitely in the mix for a backup spot or maybe a special team spot, depending on how many safeties they decide to keep on the roster.
Michigan State's secondary coach was very, very surprised, he says, that this guy did not get drafted at least late in the 6th or 7th round.
Yeah, I'm hearing his tackling skills alone should have got him drafted in the late part of the draft. If you have a safety who's a good tackler, if you're in the right position, in the right defense, you can be an effective player. Lee Flowers was never that great of a coverage guy, but he was still an effective player for us for a couple of years.
And again, like you said, this safety core isn't that great right now. So anyone could step up and prove something here in camp and in the preseason and earn a job and maybe even see playing time as the season goes along.
Another guy in the backup role for the Steelers is Ross Ventrone. Ventrone's a little smaller at 5'8", 195 pounds, 28 years old, entering his 3rd year out of Villanova. He tweaked his ankle in practice a couple days ago. It's not expected to be anything serious. He was originally signed with New England as an undrafted free agent in 2010, spent the last 11 weeks of that season on their practice squad. 2011 he spent time with New England. 2012 he wasn't in the NFL. 2013 he was on the Steelers practice squad. 2014 he was activated to the roster, played some special teams. I think he played in about 9 games. He played in the wild card game against Baltimore. He had 7 total tackles, 5 solo. I believe Ventrone is the dude with the flying hair. Am I correct about this?
You know, something I kind of remember watching some special teams playing the last year and me looking at you and going, who's that crazy guy with the hair running around the field? This guy's a mad dog out there.
Believe it. That's
Yeah,
his
Ross
specialty.
Ventrone. We remember this guy from last year. He doesn't come up with the huge plays, but he's always in the right spot at the right time. I mean, he's a decent football player. And the way he grows his hair, like you were saying, Jim, it looks like he wants the new Head & Shoulders commercials.
Please believe that's the only way he's going to make enough money. The practice squad doesn't pay well these days.
But Ventrone, I seen him come up with some decent plays last year and get some decent playing time.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's another depth guy, though, so it just worries me that everybody we talk about in this list is just a depth guy.
I don't know. He's a mad dog on special teams. That's all I know.
Special teams is getting phased out, unfortunately, though, so unless it's a punt block or punt return game, there aren't a whole lot of special teams left.
Speaking of special teams, they asked him if he likes to play it. He said, I love it. I feel like people don't appreciate the special team side of the game. In this system, you realize how important it is with field position. I love going out there. We get a play every 8 plays or whatever. It's just a bunch of wild men out there being reckless.
That's it. That's the kind of guy you want on special teams. He's our invincible. What was that dude's name?
I was going to say Ross Ventrone.
That's it. That's what his name is.
Mark
Wahlberg. You better
Marky
start
Mark.
growing your hair because
Well,
you got to look like Ross Ventrone for the second one. Invincible 2. The Wild Man.
What are you talking about? Why do we need to remember players from Philly?
Yeah, I hate Philly. Let's move on to the next guy on the list. This guy is probably the biggest long shot out of any of these guys to make the roster. Ian Wild. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds in his second year out of Mercyhurst College, a little college not too far away from where we're recording, actually. He's from Pittsburgh, PA, played at Baldwin High School. He was originally signed by the Bills as an undrafted free agent in 2012. He played in the CFL for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. from 2013 to 2014. He played outside linebacker while he was in Canada. He had 142 tackles, 4 sacks, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble recovery while playing in the CFL. He signed his futures deal with Pittsburgh in January of 2015. He started 39 of his 42 games in college. He had 304 tackles, 8th in school history. 30.5 were for a loss. He had 9.5 sacks, 15 passes defended, 10 forced fumbles, 2 picks, 2 block kicks. This guy sounds like a wild man, but that was all against a lot lesser talent. Mercyhurst doesn't really go against the best schools.
What you gonna do when Ian goes wild on you?
Brother. The guy's a camp guy. Good for him for getting in the, you know.
I mean, he came out and said he's
roster.
living his dream right now, just being in Steelers camp. This is a guy that isn't going to make the roster, and they'd be lucky to make the practice squad, really, I'd be thinking. Oh, come on now.
I don't know what the hell that.
Oh, hell no.
You hear that, people?
Sharknado.
That's the kind of music 47 listens to.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was listening to. Vince Papale.
Vince Papale. There it is.
VP.
Ian Wild, he's not going to make the team. No
Yep.
doubt.
Sorry, Ian. At least you get to be there. It's further than I got.
I mean, I'd love to go in the camp with the Steelers. That'd be badass, man.
I'd be asking for everybody's autograph in the locker room. The next guy up on the list is Gerard Holloman. He was the Steelers' 7th round pick. He's 5'10", 218 pounds, 21 years old, out of Louisville. Really, really good weight-strength ratio is what I read on this guy. I don't exactly know what that means. I'm guessing it means he's low body fat.
Well, it means for his weight, he's a lot stronger. What's he listed at, 218?
About that, yeah.
Okay, so he plays like he weighs 250 in the strength department.
All right. He runs a 4.65 40.
I'm like 140 and I fight like I'm 280, dude.
You fight like you're 41.
But all fat.
This guy played 27 games. He started 12 of them while in college, had 63 tackles, 14 picks, 6 pass breakups, and a sack. He had good production as a one-year starter. He does a decent job of mirroring slot receivers. He's a guy with good instincts and good ball skills. He can't tackle to save his life. That's the biggest question mark about this guy. He actually led the college football with 14 picks last year, but if 47 ran at him backwards drunk, he couldn't tackle him. You'd still score a touchdown.
Sweet.
All I know is he's 5'10", 218 pounds. You gotta be a frickin' monster to be that heavy at that size.
What I don't
Unless
understand,
it's fat.
if he has good weight to strength ratio, why the hell can't he tackle? He was seriously rated the worst tackler in the draft.
People don't teach tackling anymore, man, and somebody gotta be the worst. Haul him in, you're it.
Holler at your boy because you need to learn how to play this game.
Maybe a camp altercation with James Harrison will change that a little bit.
This is a guy I definitely could see making the practice squad if he doesn't make the roster, because you don't want to give up a guy who has ball skills like this just because he can't tackle this early in his career.
They could always teach you how to tackle,
You think?
hopefully.
Yeah, you hope. The Steelers, man, they got so many openings on their defense for young players to step in and make an impression. I hear the one cornerback, Doran Grant, that we talked about in the last segment we did. Guys, go check that out. He's been one of the biggest surprises at camp, and Cortez Allen's actually been playing well at camp, but that's just camp, and Cortez is still garbage in my book.
Listen, if he can fix this tackling issue, this guy could be a beast, actually.
He's a ball hawk,
And
man.
they're saying that he is ready to earn a starting position right now. Now,
Steve,
I don't believe that.
You can't be that poor at tackling.
This is an article written by Jeff Hartman, so you never know. But, I mean, he does have excellent ball skills. Like you said, he led the NCAA in interceptions, correct?
14 picks, yeah.
So he has huge upside, and really, you can teach tackling. So if you teach him how to tackle, this guy could be a beast for you.
He projects more at the free safety position, which is where Mike Mitchell is at right now, not the strong safety position.
Maybe Mike Mitchell got to teach him how to tackle.
I've heard they're thinking about moving Mitchell to strong safety. So, I mean, if they don't get sold on Schmarko right away, who is penciled in to be the starter opposite of Mitchell, Holloman could make a push maybe late in the season, depending on how his tackling goes. maybe even into next year. But he's a guy to keep on the roster. You don't want to let him go. You try to fix the tackling issues and move on from there. If you have the athleticism, the Steelers will take you.
Please believe. Ask Linus Swede.
The oldest guy for the Steelers out of safeties is Will Allen. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, in his 13th year out of Ohio State. He's been with Pittsburgh for all or part of the last few seasons. He played at Dallas for half of a season, I think. He played in all 16 games for Pittsburgh last year. He started 4 of them, 36 tackles, 1 forced fumble. Some people actually said that the defense played better when Allen was in for Troy. I don't know.
I mean, the defense did play better. It's maybe not because of him, but actually when Troy was out and Allen was in was actually when the defense stepped up and played better football. That doesn't mean that he was a better football player than Polamalu, but you can't argue Will Allen was their best safety last year, but just because he was healthy and he was better than Mike Mitchell.
I like Will Allen a lot. I think what he brings to the table is a lot of experience. He still has the skill set to do it if you need him. Maybe he doesn't hold up for a whole season, but they don't need him to be the starter there for the whole season. He's going to bring a lot of knowledge to this young group of guys. He plays the game the right way. You don't hear him getting in trouble. A lot of guys like him. He's a leader on the defense, although he's not a starter. It's hard to find guys who are willing to accept a backup role but still can be a leader on a team. Maybe somebody like a Charlie Batch when he was in the backup role with Ben Roethlisberger. So I like Allen. I like everything that he brings, even his skill set entering his 13th year. I think it was a great idea to bring him back for one more run. You need to mix youth and veterans together. You can't go all one way. It usually doesn't work. You need that good mix, and I like what he brings to the table.
Yeah, he's a good backup when he's sitting, and if you need him to come in, man, he showed he plays pretty well.
I'm sure he'd play special teams if we asked him, but he's too old for that poop.
Yeah. Can't be letting a 33-year-old run around out there on special teams.
Can't let no 30-year-old run around out there playing quarterback getting his collarbone broken. Let's move into the starting guys. We got Garbage Mitchell. Mike Mitchell. He's 6'2", 210, 28 years old, going into his 7th season out of Ohio. Originally drafted in the 2nd round by the Oakland Raiders. He's played for the Raiders, the Panthers, and the Steelers so far in his career. He played in and started all of 16 games last year, totaled 71 tackles, 3 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and I think it was like 738 missed tackles. Maybe not that high, but pretty close.
Yeah.
In Carolina in 2013, he had 66 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 8 passes defended, 4 picks, and 2 forced fumbles. So that was his biggest season, and that's why Pittsburgh gave him the contract that they did. They thought he could step in and play that way right away for the Steelers and their defense. They struggled there with Ryan Clark the last few years before Mitchell came in.
I liked Ryan Clark.
Yeah, but he lost it at the end. He just lost it. And it was all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Listen,
it wasn't like one of those gradual
coming
things.
out of Carolina, Steelers fans loved Mike Mitchell when they signed him.
I thought it was a great signing.
And everyone was saying that he's going to be better than Ryan Clark, actually. And that hasn't showed up at this point. But they were saying he was injured most of last season, and they kept it hidden, apparently, which you're not supposed to do, but apparently they did. And I heard Mike Tomlin say he knew that he was injured most of the season, and they're saying he's going to have a huge bounce-back season this year. But I got to see it before I believe it from Mike Mitchell. He totally made me hate him last season.
I understand that he put together a good year, but until he does it as a Steeler, I don't know. This is his 2nd year with the team. It's kind of the 2nd year in the defense. Butler's not going to change it a whole lot from what LeBeau did, especially at the safety position. Mitchell's job is basically run support and don't let people get behind you for big plays. He didn't really do either one last year. He kind of just let people run right past him and catch deep balls, and when he made it up to the line of scrimmage to tackle you, he usually missed. So,
well, one reason for that was when he was young and growing into a professional is when he was in Oakland, and you can be damn sure they don't teach you how to play football the right way.
Straight out of Compton. Is he playing Ice Cube in the new movie? Like Willie Mays Hayes in the offseason. Mitchell really needs to get it together, though. Honestly, if he has another bad year with Shamarko at strong safety, we're in for a lot of points.
Yeah, like I said,
those
linebackers better do more than their job if this safety group and this corner group doesn't get it done like people hope, I guess. But People don't have high expectations for it, I wouldn't believe either.
I'm hearing the linebackers look good in camp, but I always hear everybody looks good in camp, so we'll take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, if you think about it, outside of the line, the linebackers probably are the second best part of this defense, unfortunately. Well, not
the defense
unfortunately.
gets worse as it goes
should
backwards.
Be. Yeah,
good,
apparently.
good behind the linebackers.
I'm not going to say the linebacker core is good yet, though.
Oh, they're good.
We'll have to see, man. I mean, you can predict they will be good, but to say they're good right now after what we've seen the past couple years, I mean, you could say Lawrence Timmons is a beast. I'll give you that.
The biggest thing with this safety group is try to help make some plays and game-changing plays. The Steelers have the least amount of takeaways in the league over the last 4 years, and actually the least amount of takeaways in a 4-year span in franchise history. So they've never gone 4 years in a row and gotten less takeaways than they have the last 4 years. So
they capitalize like they did last year. It's okay, though.
I think that's a big reason why they went after somebody like a Holloman who can go make plays on the ball and then try to teach him how to tackle. A guy they're expecting to make big plays, the last guy on our list, Shamarko Thomas. He's 5'9", 217 pounds, entering his third year out of Syracuse. He was a 4th-round pick in 2013. Like we said earlier, he's seen limited action since being drafted. He played 14 games in 2013 and 11 games last year. He only seen action on special teams last year. When Troy was out, Will Allen went in. Shamarko did not.
That's what worries me. Your second year in the system, and you don't even trust him enough to come in when an injury happens, and you want him to start this season. I mean, this guy made no more than 2 career starts.
Well, I mean, as a rookie in limited playing time, he looked okay. Then he got hurt, and then he kind of fell off the depth chart a little bit.
Okay is pushing it.
He's somebody who has a nose for the ball, though. He blocked a punt in that playoff game against Baltimore. That was the first blocked punt in a playoff game for Pittsburgh since Jerry Olszewski did it in 1989 against Houston.
Jerry O.
Yeah, believe it.
Nice name drop.
Shamarko's had trouble with his health, though. Like 47 said, he didn't play a lot of games last year, only 11 games. I worry also, Dash, that he was passed over in favor of Allen, but was it because the Steelers were still so close to the race that they just trusted Allen more? LeBeau didn't trust young guys on his defense, especially not young defensive backs. LeBeau made you fit into his defense. The defensive backs this year, from what I'm hearing with Coach Butler, and not just the defensive backs, the whole defense in general, he's trying to play to their strengths. He's not saying, this is what we're going to do, and you have to be able to do it. He's saying, this is what my guys do good, so that's what we're going to go after. And I heard Tomlin say in an interview, the biggest thing for the defense this year is to not get frustrated. They're going to give up big plays. They're going to make mistakes. They're young. If you get too frustrated over those mistakes, that's when bad things are really going to start to happen. You got to brush them off, just play another down, and make a big play to come back for it.
Yeah, I get it. Butler's in here as the defensive coach now or whatnot. It just scares me that you can't trust a guy enough to play even a backup role defensively, but then going into the next season, you can trust him to be your starter.
Are you going to, for 4 games when you're in the middle of a playoff race, are you going to trust one of the most important positions on your defense to an unproven second-year guy or a proven veteran that you believe in Will Allen?
Well,
it's not like they put somebody garbage in and left Shamarko out. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, man, but they did not even put this guy in on defense. They did not trust him at all during pretty much the entire season, not just towards the end.
Well, everybody always said how complicated LeBeau's system was to learn and all this, and you had to take 3 years to learn it. It took 3 years. Well, now this is year 3. So this is the year that you should see big things out of him.
Yeah, you should. We'll see if he does. I mean, you'd like to see something better in his second year than what... I mean, they didn't even seem to put the trust in him, in my mind.
Tomlin does not trust young guys. That's why you've seen James Harrison playing a lot last year.
But that just affects his value to me going into the next season when you need him as the starter. It would have helped a little bit. You don't have to go out there and start him 4 weeks in a row, but you got to get him in there some plays on the defensive side at least.
Well, another thing about Thomas, too, that might be even overlooked is he took a lot of bad penalties at bad times.
Yeah, I
showing
wasn't
over-
happy with how Thomas looked when he was in last season. It's not like he was in that much. I mean, just on special teams and whatnot, but he never showed anything where I said, wow, you got to get that guy in the game.
Well, hopefully we'll see that this year out of him. Hopefully he can make big plays because this defense needs it, especially out of that safety position. Anybody who's a Steeler fan, when our strong safety doesn't impact a game, we struggle.
Well, listen, Troy Polamalu was the greatest safety in Steelers history, if you ask me. Dude, he's one of the best safeties in football history.
Who is better? You gonna say Donnie Shell was
Donnie
better?
Shell was close.
I mean, he did nothing like Troy Polamalu.
Well, they didn't play the game the same way.
No,
but that doesn't
definitely
make
not.
him not a good player.
I never said Donnie Shell was not a good player, though. I'm just saying Troy Polamalu, it was something like you've never seen.
He was a
played at the
once-in-a-generation player, definitely. He changed the way the safety game was played, especially in the last 10 years.
Yeah, he was an elite safety, and you're going to have a hard time ever seeing that kind of play out of. You'll probably never see that kind of play out of a Pittsburgh safety again. So you just got to accept that and know that you're going to take a step down, but you can still get good play out of the safety position.
The Steelers are hoping that they get more ball hawking skills out of Thomas, and now with their elite speed and their linebacker core, I think they're hoping that can help cushion some of the blow from losing Troy near the line of scrimmage. So I don't think Shamarko, obviously he can't play the same exact game as Troy. Nobody can. But I don't even think they're going to want him to play the same game as Troy. It's going to be a total different ball game for Shamarko. He's going to be more of a guy who's a little further away from the line of scrimmage. I don't expect to see him creeping up into the box as much as you've seen Troy.
I don't think you'll ever see a safety for any team ever play like Troy played.
Well, Troy was basically a linebacker playing safety, so it was crazy. But that's it. That's all we got for the Steelers safeties. That wraps up our player profiles for the offseason. Fans, if you want to follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread or follow me on Twitter at betjimtowin, you can bitch at me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Bitch at me there. Go to our website at thespreadnews.simplesite.com. Read some articles. Go to our YouTube page. Click subscribe. Click thumbs up or bitch at me there. 3 places.